What's the haps? I'm Meroka, and today I'm going to be taking a quick look at Forward to the Sky. This is a third-person character platformer by Animu Game. And it's not merely who it's by, it's a pretty accurate description of what it is as well. It's a very anime thing. It's by a Taiwanese team, and it's gone through Steam Greenlight. It's available for you now to peruse on the Steam library. And we're going to take a look at it today. I would normally begin by taking a look at the options menu, but it is a Unity game, so most of it is sort of done in the pre-launch. Most people, I'm sure, will be fairly familiar with it. You've got your resolution options on there. You got a graphics drop-down, which is, as ever, not terribly helpful in actually explaining what it's going to do for you. And then you've got key rebindings on there as well. In-game, we obviously have this gear icon here, which must be the settings, because this menu is terribly unhelpful, but that's one of the more obvious ones. In the settings, we can change the volume. The volume is on one slider, so that's voice, sound effects, and music all on the same slider. Why they couldn't have put that separately, I don't know, but you don't get that, so that's not great. We can change the camera speed, and we can sort of invert how the camera controls as well, in case you sort of want to work backwards like a strange kind of person. In regards to the rest of the menu, again, it's not well labeled, it's not terribly helpful. Down here, that looks... oh, does that look like a save game kind of thing? No, that's the story. That's, you're allowed to view previous... I would call them cutscenes, but there's no animation to them. You just kind of get a picture and a wall of text kind of to elaborate on the story after each level. So you can go and replay the wall of text in case you want to rewatch such things. Over here, we've got the character. Surely the character would be how we would play the game. No, that's a tutorial. That's your movement controls and some various attacks. Okay, well what about the balloon? Let's look at the balloon. There's our levels. It's a level select kind of thing. So we start at the bottom of this tower and we are basically ascending the tower up into the skies. I've done the first 3 levels of the game so far. It's taken me a little over an hour, so I think there's probably 2 to 3 hours gameplay in this, maybe, depending on how long you take, how quickly you are solving puzzles and things. So this is one of our levels. We get occasional bits of dialogue from the characters. There's only really 2 characters that actually ever say anything. We've got our protagonist here, the princess with a big sword, who will go around and smash things up with her big sword. And occasionally she will get bits of dialogue from the evil witch, the witch who is somewhere up at the top of the tower, so we're led to believe. She has cursed the lands and ruined the tower or something. The narrative so far is a bit... I don't think it reveals much until right to the very end. It's kind of weird. I thought we'll probably explore a little bit more as I get through this level, but let's start out with seeing the immediate area. We've got these skeletons. Skeletons are the bulk of the enemies. In fact, they are the entirety of the enemies. There are a few sort of environmental hazards that can deal damage, but anything that's actually going to fight you are going to be skeletons. There are all the enemies that I have encountered so far in the game have been skeletons. There's some that are over there. You can see some armored carrying swords, maybe even bows. We've got a new puzzle mechanic on this level, I think involves a switch here, which fires a beam of light into that thing. Aha, okay. I don't know what that's doing. That feels like that's sort of some kind of graphical glitch, because that's really messing with my eyes. I've not seen it do anything like that in the game so far, but that's some weird Hall of Mirrors kind of thing.
Try to push it and see.
So we've got this to push. I don't know what this is going to do. Hopefully fix that weird Hall of Mirrors thing, though. I don't know. It's going to make a floor. Okay. Depending on where I push it, I guess different things become solid? Or do I have to just keep pushing it until everything becomes solid? I'm not sure. Each level seems to try to introduce one new mechanic to the game. In this instance, clearly pushing levers around things until stuff happens is what they're gunning for. In the last level, there was a lot of sort of flying mechanics. There's sort of tubes you could jump into and sort of shoot through on the winds, and other sort of windy sections, I guess, were kind of pushing you around. They kind of tried to introduce something new. There was like a load of blades spinning around to avoid in the second level. They don't seem to reuse too much stuff, but at the same time, none of the mechanics are ever fantastically compelling. So this doesn't seem to be getting me anywhere. Is this like locked in certain places which are gonna... I know, I can't do that. If you fall off the level, there's like no penalty whatsoever for falling off the level. You got your health bar at the top, 1,000 out of 1,000, but if you fall off, it does nothing really. You whistle, and your balloon picks you up. And there's not even an animation for that, which isn't great. You just sort of immediately just teleport to the balloon and fly back in. It'd be nice if there's some sort of animation of the balloon, you know, actually catching you and doing something. But no such things. So I'm not really sure what we're doing with this. I guess that's kind of like a lens at the front, and the beam of light is shooting into that, so it shoots these crystals and makes things solid. I think maybe what I'm going for here. Let's think of it. I think it's the fact that it takes a second or so to fade into existence. Yeah. Oh, there's our witch. She's been telling us to turn back quite a lot, and she doesn't seem very witchy. She just seems like some sad, lonely girl, to be honest. There's a lot of crying going on, a lot of whining, and telling me that I should not continue. Clearly, spellcasters are the new enemy in this level, which we have not seen before. They add new enemies to each level, and like again, they're still just skeletons. They're in this case skeletons in a robe with a staff, but they are still skeletons. Each of them drops the crystals. The crystals are what we are aiming to collect. There's 100 in each level to get, much like many other games, all a bit of a collectathon. I don't know where I'm aiming this thing, to be honest. I presume there's somewhere it needs to go. Is it over there? I feel like that pillar's in the way. There are physics objects that you can destroy, and I don't know if that's... I've never seen it used for an interesting purpose, but that might be the case down there. So I kind of want to drop down here, I think. There's a lot of stuff that you can break in the levels, which is kind of cool. So if I break that... Oh, that's interesting. I think maybe that might actually be the first time I've actually seen the physics make any noteworthy difference in this world. There's lots of things like walls. If you wail on walls with a sword for a bit, they will fall apart. Not in any particularly elegant way, but in a cool sort of, hey, here's some physics kind of way. And as I say, there's lots of this. There's loads of chunks of the level you can smash up, but I think that pillar being destroyed to make way for the beam of light may be the first time I've ever seen it actually used for anything in the game so far. So, I'm glad that that is a thing, but up to now I had very much assumed it wasn't a thing. Okay, so we got some new enemies here. There's no way to regain your health if you lose health, so if you fall to 0, you just restart the level. So you need to be careful. There are in each level I think there's the same number of enemies in every level. In each level I've found so far, there are 22 sort of lesser enemies. They come in various flavors. Some of them have swords, some of them have bows, some of them in this case have magic. But there are 22 lesser enemies, each of them drops 1 crystal, and then there's like one big enemy which will generally drop 3 crystals, that gives you 75. That gives you 25 crystals, and then there are 75 hidden in 3 statues. So there's kind of a puzzling element to try and get to the statues. I don't know if we can see any here. It does, as far as I've seen, generally seem to be kind of the last thing you get. Once you've sort of opened up most of the level and made your way through most of the level, I guess I need to activate this, don't I? That would then do that, yep. So then that flickers into existence. Cool. It's still very Hall of Mirrors. That's kind of broken. I would say that was exceptionally broken. I don't know whether I... Oh. And now I've fallen onto it. Okay. There's lots of bits on the levels that look like that. It's like, oh, I can get onto that. But, no. They don't do much. That I'm just not sure whether I can go through or not. I suppose the only way to find out would be to walk through it. I don't know what we're doing there. Nope, that's a hole in the floor. As I say, no penalty for falling off, so if you want to just get experimental about jumping, there's no real problem with that. So, as I say, with the combat, if I can find some more skeletons, I might be able to show off some of the combat, because the combat is not great. I mean, I've shown you the sort of forward attack, which is that. That's your 5-hit combo that you saw. If you left-click, you do that. That seems to be the meat of the operation. That seems to be... I've been using that to kill most of the things. There is another attack, which if you right-click, you sort of lunge forward, and you can then add a bunch of extra stabs to it, basically. So you can lunge into an enemy and stab it a bunch of times. That's a 3-hit combo on the right mouse. And there's no way to combine those. If I start left-clicking and then start right-clicking, I have to stop. We have to wait a second, stop that attack, and then do the right-click. So it kind of seems like they're trying to go for a cool, interesting sort of combo combat system, but it really doesn't particularly work. So I guess this is a switch, and that's going to give us light for this thing. So that's going to activate some stairs, but I guess I need to... Now, can I get across that? Is that going to be... I don't know. This is a puzzle section, clearly. So if I shoot across there, that makes a... yeah, that'll work. And that'll make various platforms across things. So by activating these in different patterns, different bits of the world are going to come into existence. So I can get up here now, if this is useful. It is not particularly. So I guess one would want to aim it over that way. And try and get to that one. The puzzles are not terribly complex. There's nothing that I've really never been particularly stumped by so far that I've just gone, oh, I don't know how to do this. It's always flip a couple switches, hit a couple buttons. It's not really anything complex, anything that's going to terribly tax you too much. Damn it, that's incorrect. So I've got everything lit up there, I think, haven't I? So I think we should be pretty good to go. So then that lights... Yeah, there we go. Yeah, right up to the top. Brilliant. So, yeah, there's some more skeletons. Let's try and use some of our combat abilities. Let's use a right... Oh, God. Now that's... Well, okay, that's not great. Oh, a long way back. Yeah, that's an issue I have. The characters sort of... Normally in a game, attacks and things would be sort of relative to the camera, I think. And then in this, it's relative to the character. So if I walk towards the camera and then use right-click for a lunge forward, I lunge towards the screen. In addition to that, with shift, you've then got a backflip, which is great. But if you run like to the right, you can do a backflip to the left. And if you walk to the left, you can backflip to the right. If you're walking towards the camera, you will backflip away from the camera. It's kind of confusing and a bit weird to get the hang of, just because I've not seen it done that way before. Most other games, like I say, if I'm facing that way and I press backflip, I still kind of expect it to be relative to the camera. I still expect the flip to be towards me. It seems like the natural direction of that to be. So often if you're sort of getting stuck into combat and the things and you're swinging around in different directions and then you do a backflip and you end up like there, that can be a bit disorienting. That can be quite disorienting. So as you saw, like trying to lunge at skeletons and I'm facing the wrong way, it's not really helpful. So, yeah, with the right-click attack, that's kind of awkward. So if I run away from the skeletons and then try and hit it with the right-click attack, I do need to turn around first to actually make that land, otherwise it just won't work. The combat is, I will say, not particularly satisfying or elegant. It just doesn't work well, I'm afraid. It's a shame. Like I say, there's kind of the core of it in there. It feels like they could have done something interesting and cool with it, but it just ends up feeling clunky most of the time. The enemies sort of... Oh, this is interesting. I don't know how this is working. Different things coming into existence at different times, I guess. Oh, I see, this thing's rotating. Ah, that's neat. Yeah, with the skeletons, especially the melee ones, they're kind of they're just a bit unwieldy, really. They sort of stagger about, and you're still staggering about as well because your movement is not really much more elegant than theirs. It just doesn't feel good, most of the combat. The puzzles, as I say, you got stuff like this. It's like, the puzzles actually aren't too bad. I could have done that one a lot better, couldn't I? So yeah, the puzzles, there's some interesting stuff going on there. Nothing terribly taxing or challenging or super complex, but it's mildly interesting. So here's a bunch of stuff, and I think the one in the middle there, the robe, most of them really don't have much of an aggro radius on them. They just sort of mill about until you get close and engage them. I guess the one in the big one in the middle is going to be the one that's got 3 gems, and then the rest will be, how many are we up to? I've got 14, so I guess are there 8 skeletons there? Yeah, there's 8 skeletons. This will be the last of the enemies. If I can kill all these guys, that's the entirety of the enemies in the level. Let's get the little ones out. So they don't take much damage, but they're just annoying if they're in crowds. That thing's going to try and melee me. Most of the time it's just sort of sidestep him, is mostly what you're going to do. The archers, to dodge them, you just kind of need to just keep moving, really. There's a couple over there. As long as I give them the run around, they aren't going to be too bothered. And most of them, even if you sort of aggro them, the vast majority of them will lose interest once you get too far away. So, yeah, the enemy AI... not fantastic. The combat is very much a weak part of this game, I would say. It's a shame, because like I say, it feels like it does have the potential to be something more. It just never actually becomes much more. So, as I say, once you've got 1,000 health, once that health is 0, you're out of it. There's nothing more, nothing more you can do. I should backflip away from his attacks. Yeah, see? That's some combat. This thing's got a lot more health than the others, but obviously this is sort of the last enemy. He's kind of almost a kind of boss character, but not entirely. There we go. See, with the backflip, it feels like you've kind of got the dodge mechanics, and then you've got combos. It feels like they're trying to go for something complex and elegant, but not quite managing it, which is a shame. So there you go, I've got 25 of my gems, which means there are 3 statues somewhere in this world, each of which is going to have 25 gems, and then that's me complete. I need to get to, there will also be a hot air balloon somewhere where I can ascend to level 5 of this world. So I guess we're doing something with this bit that's slowly rotating, I imagine. Can I, yeah, okay, we can get sort of through to that. Try that one again, maybe? There's normally a kind of a blue glow to sort of indicate where things are, but the problem is with this map, there's kind of all the beams of light are being indicated by blue glows as well, so that's kind of a visually confusing one. Normally it's like there's a little faint blue glow somewhere on the map that says, hey, this is roughly where the statue is, you should probably be heading there, but given that you can see the blue glows through the walls and everything, it looks exactly like those blue dots. So I'm kind of looking out for them to show me where the statues roughly are in the level, but it's kind of, like I say, visually confusing because there's so many blue dots on this level. Up to now it's not been a problem, but this level, not so hot for it. The story, as you'll have seen some of the bits of the story, I don't know how much attention you've been paying, but you've obviously seen some of the story. I guess that one's fixed. You've seen some of the story elements there, and they're not phenomenal, to be honest. It's mostly the witch is not actually a big bad, and you've got this princess who's absolutely dead set on thwarting her, but she's having some doubts because every interaction she has with the witch actually turns out to be just, like I say, just this shy, slightly scared little girl who's just like, no, no, don't come into the tower, it's dangerous, please leave me alone. And she's like, no, I will thwart you, you evil, wicked witch. And it's like, yeah, she's clearly not an evil, wicked witch. And it's this slow, painfully drawn-out process of realization that maybe the witch is not the big bad that she was made out to be. So I guess some of these, like I say, some of these just seem to be fixed in place, but I'm having trouble figuring out where they're actually linking to each other. With light being shone into this one, right? So I could move this. Then that activates this, I guess? Okay. I suppose it might be helpful if I went up top and got a vantage of where I'm trying to get to. There's my balloon at the very least. That's the end of the level. Oh, there's a blue dot you can see in the center of the screen there. That will be where one of the 3 statues is. But it looks very, very similar to those blue dots. Very, very similar. So, hard to make out, really. So really I need to get this thing activated as well, if at all possible. I don't know how one would go about doing that. Point that at it, but I guess I need to get light to it from somewhere else. This is kind of weird, because this one's like tucked around a corner. I'm not sure where it would be getting its light source from. Over here is the only thing I can possibly think of. So let's do that. So that would fire a beam into that. That would fire a beam through the middle. And that would activate... Yes, that one. Good. But that statue there still seems completely superfluous. What if I were to... point it at this statue, though? This might be a thing. So if I put that there, it's going to fire into that one. It'd be better if there was, like, I think for these ones, if there was an actual beam of light, it would be less visually confusing. You could actually just see exactly where the light's been done. It's essentially a light beam and mirrors kind of puzzle, but it's kind of not obvious what's going on with this puzzle. So there's one of my statues. There's one of the 3 that will be in the level. You smash that open, you get 25 gems. Ta-da! Cool. So there's 2 more of those, and basically how many... Yeah, I think you can finish the level at any time as long as you get to the balloon, and indeed, here's my balloon. You probably don't need to kill all the enemies, you don't even need to get any of the crystals, I don't think, as long as you get to the balloon, that's the end of the level. But how much of the story you actually receive at the end of the game, at the end of the level, is thoroughly dependent on how many of the crystals you get. So I think for 33 crystals, which basically, if you find 2 of the statues, you get one of the... I suppose with the enemies it varies a little bit, but you're gonna end up with at 33 crystals you end up with like 1/3 of the story. At 66 you get 2/3. There's a statue over there, and for 100 crystals you get all the statue. Okay, oh I see where we're going. I messed that up badly. I kind of stopped mid-jump, but I totally see where one of the statues is, and I can see where I'm supposed to be going with this. It does kind of... I have been past this. It does invite a certain degree of exploration. There's kind of... You have to go back and take a look at things that places you've already been. Oh god, that one vanished underneath me. I can see I just need to kind of loop round on that path to get to that crystal again. It's just up on that ledge. That's gonna go, I can't get to that. So now we wait. That's a fun game design element. Okay, let's try not to screw this one up. I think jumping as it's about to fade seems to be probably a pretty good tactic. Just because that keeps it from... That keeps you from falling through the floor because you're in the air. Whoop, and there we go. And that's 2 statues! Ta-da! And we can see a third one over there, which presumably needs to be some manner of rearrangement of the previous puzzle. So we've already been... Oh, hello. Oh, that was convenient. I'm okay with that. So this one where we set this up before, I guess a different configuration of the lighting would create a path. Ah, yeah, you can see the steps there, so... If I were to... What could I do here? I'm going to move this one back around this way. That's not terribly useful, I don't think, but... Actually, what am I doing? I want... Oh, that one faded... What? That one faded out? Why did that one fade out? Because I moved the thing that was supporting it. That would do it. So that's doing that. Is that... Oh, that's interesting, because that means I... Oh, no. Does that come into existence? What is going on with this one? It seems like be like kind of delayed in what's going on. I don't know, but either way, it kind of seems to have worked out for me. That was a very confusing puzzle, and I don't think I really solved that in any real sense of the word. That in order to solve it, I think one needs to actually know what one's doing. I blundered my way through that, I think is what I did there. It's not great. Let's wait for that one to go around again, because it's not done. So I've got my 100 crystals, I'm ready to leave the level. That's about all there is. Each of the levels takes very much this format. You've got your 22 enemies and one quote-unquote boss enemy, and then 3 statues to find. All 4 levels I've played so far have all taken that exact same format, and I can't imagine the remaining levels in the game would probably take too much of a different format either. So on the whole, I think the puzzle elements are sometimes good, but I don't think they hold up the game on their own. I think if you're just playing it for the puzzle elements, because quite frankly the combat's fairly lackluster. If you're just wanting to do the puzzles, I think you'd be better off with some proper puzzle game. The fact is, the combat is weak in this and unsatisfying. The puzzle, like I say, while they're good, they're not going to sell the game on its own. And the narrative, I've just been fairly unimpressed by through and through. I mean, stylistically, it's pleasant to look at, even if the textures are in some places fairly low res, and... Oh god knows, some of the destructible objects are... they're very, very low poly, let's be honest. They're like... in some cases, like 6 faces. It's pretty much just a triangle. I guess I need to move some of this to make my way through to the end, but... You know, I don't think you're going to lose anything by not seeing me sail off in the balloon, so I'll probably leave that there for now. So thank you very much for watching. This has been Forward to the Sky. I'm afraid I'm not really going to make much of a recommendation for this, because I'm afraid I have not been as impressed by it as I'd hoped to be. It looked rather good when I saw it, so that's why I wanted to take a look at it, and I'm afraid it's just kind of let me down a little bit. So if you want this, this is out on Steam. This is out now. It's available for £5.59 or your regional equivalent, and they've got a 10% discount going on for the first week, so £5.3. So it's not a lot of money for what they're asking for. They're not asking for a lot of money for this title, but at the same time, I'm not quite sure they deliver a lot that's particularly compelling either. It's rather unfortunate. So yes, thank you very much for watching. This has been Forward to the Sky. I'll see you next time.